It's enough Thursday night football talk. Let's go on to our trade targets going into week 7. These are just some guys that we're trading for in some leagues. We want to get you in on it with us, baby. So first trade target, we got Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley did not fly. So they had a bye week. Was it a bye week first or then they went? They went to London. Then they were on a bye week. He didn't go to London with them. Then he goes on a bye week. It's been 2 weeks since his players put up fantasy points for whoever's team whoever has him on their team. So, and all he's been doing is getting more targets every week. He went from 8 to 10 to 11 to 13 targets in the last game he played. Calvin Ridley, I think, is still going to finish I think he can finish as a top 10 wide receiver easily. It's just it hasn't come up yet so far. So I think you're just really, really buying low on Calvin Ridley right now, and I think you need to do it. This is a guy that you need to do before the end of this week. I think you got to get on this. What are your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, because if he comes out and he has a Calvin Ridley game, yeah, the person who has him is not going to trade him anymore. I mean,
because that's who they drafted.
Yeah,
what
for what it's worth, his
on.
targets 8, 10, 11, 13. So, I mean, they're only going up, like Mike said. He's got you 10 or more PPR points in every single game, so a safe floor at least. He's just the touchdowns haven't been there. No 100-yard receiving games yet, but I think maybe the Falcons are kind of just learning this new offense. You got to remember it's a new offense with I believe it's Arthur Smith, the head coach over there. And you can't expect Cordell Patterson to get 2-3 touchdowns every single week like he's been doing. Those touchdowns eventually have to go somewhere else, and I would be betting on Calvin Ridley to be the guy who, is the beneficiary of getting these other touchdowns that Matt Ryan is throwing. So, yeah, I like this one. If you can get Calvin Ridley on a team, sign me up all day.
What would you – I mean, I did it in a dynasty league last week, or I don't know when it was, but, I traded
you pulled off a juicy trade.
I traded Amari Cooper and I think Myles Gaskin for Calvin Ridley and then a first-round pick for next year. So dynasty is a little bit different, but,
that's what we like to call in the biz highway robbery.
Okay. He might be listening. All right. I'm just – dynasty, it's you want to get younger guys, you know what I mean? So
fuck it. Send it in.
You know what I mean?
Asking for a friend, would you trade Terry McLaurin to get Calvin Ridley?
Yeah. Yeah. Just because the quarterback situation, right now you have Matt Ryan with Calvin Ridley. Is it dynasty or regular?
Regular.
Okay. Yeah, the quarterback situation. I mean, I like Taylor Heineke, but I like Matt Ryan over Taylor Heineke, which is kind of crazy to say, but just because of the age difference, I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I would do that.
All right. And who let the dogs out?
Who let the dogs out? Let's go on to the next trade target. We got my boy, Chase Claypool. So Juju Smith-Schuster goes out for the year, and obviously that's helped with Najee Harris's targets. It's helped with, game changer. And I know Deontay Johnson is the guy in what's it called? In Pittsburgh, but Chase Claypool is not far behind him. Last week he ended with 2 receptions for 17 yards, but I'm pretty sure he had 9 targets on that game. And he's had a game. Deontay Johnson was out, but Juju Smith-Schuster was there. He had 15 targets in I think week 4 or 5. I mean, if you got a guy that's possibly a wide receiver that's possibly getting 15 targets, I mean, sign me up all day. It's not there. He got kind of fucked over on a couple plays where he should have scored, whatnot. I think whoever's got Chase Claypool, they're not looking at him in the way that they should, and I think you could get him at a definitely at a good value right now. I'm tongue twisted. I can't even talk right now, but I love Chase Claypool for the future. And he's just literally and by the way, Chase Claypool has been kind of running around in the slot a lot more since Juju Smith-Schuster's been out, and that's when you got an old man fucking Big Ben throwing you the ball. The slot receivers is the way to go. Know what I mean?
Definitely.
He's a big guy too.
I mean, yeah, Juju not being there either just opens up more targets. The tight ends have really been non-existent. So I mean, it's Deontay Johnson, and next man in the pecking order is it's Claypool. You know, obviously Najee Harris is getting highly incorporated in the passing game as well. He's getting a ton of targets, but yeah, it's Deontay Johnson, then it's Claypool, and 70 or more receiving yards and 3 straight, I believe it was, prior to last week. So if you can get him on a dip or a discount right now, yeah, fuck it, send it in.
Well, and Steelers are on bye week too this week, so this is kind of a guy that you could wait till next week to possibly trade for him. And so because there's people that you could get it this week because they need somebody. They could trade you him. Oh, he's on bye week. He fucking sucks anyway. So you could package trade him, sneak trade him. You know what I mean? Go for him and a running back. And then give them a receiver and a running back a better option for them possibly. So I think in a pinch with all these bye weeks, I think you can snag him for a fucking discount, baby. Sign me up. So let's go on to the next one here. We got Nick Chubb. All right, Nick Chubb. I love this for one reason, and it's because Kareem Hunt, if Nick Chubb doesn't come back, he's not playing this week, but if Nick Chubb comes back next week, he's going to have like possibly 3 weeks to play with no Kareem Hunt. And the whole like knock on Nick Chubb is the fact that Kareem Hunt takes away those red zone opportunities, takes away pass catching opportunities. And so if you're telling me I could get Nick Chubb for 3 weeks with fucking no Kareem Hunt, sign me up. I think you can literally win your weeks off of performances like that. And so I mean obviously before Kareem Hunt got hurt, you had Kareem Hunt kind of snaking and having bigger games than Nick Chubb. So someone might be down on Nick Chubb. Sorry.
Bless you.
If they have him. So oh my gosh.
Yeah, I like it too. I mean, like you said, if you can get him on a low right now, sometimes especially someone who's like in a win now mode, like hey, look, I need to win now. I can't rely
2-4.
I can't rely on Nick Chubb. He's going to be out this week, and I need to win this week. So maybe you trade him some players now, especially if he's got like a couple buys maybe or something like that. And someone's like, hey, trade me 2 for 1 for Nick Chubb because I need 2 players this week. I need to win this week to stay alive almost.
Yeah.
Maybe you can get him, and pry him away from the Chubb owner. So, I mean, Nick Chubb, one of the best running backs.
Talent-wise, he's so good.
Yeah, I think he's like one of the highest graded running backs on Pro Football Focus. So,
I mean, Javonte Williams looks pretty good, but Nick Chubb is, as far as talent goes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to our last trade target. We got a tight end position. Dude, we got all the positions today. Receivers, running backs. Now we got a tight end. You're saying grab Darren Waller. Obviously, he hasn't had the best performances as of recently.
Yeah, I mean, this one might be hard to pull off, but, I mean, if you can, Darren Waller, I mean, after that 19-target game in week 1, he was just on pace for ridiculous numbers. He hasn't had double-digit targets in a game since, so for the next 5 games hasn't had double-digit targets. I don't know what it is or what the Las Vegas Raiders are trying to do, but, I mean, obviously you got to get the football in this guy's hands here. But, like I said, he hasn't had any, like, crazy big games. I mean, after that week 1, 10 catches, 105 yards, he's had 4 straight games where he's been under 60 yards. So maybe you can pry him away from the Darren Waller owner. Good luck. I just think that even on these down weeks that he's been having, 11, 10, 11, those are money weeks compared to like other tight ends, Like if you have a Austin Hooper and you get 11, you're hyped. You have a Hunter Henry and you get 11, you're hyped. So it's like those are Darren Waller's bad games, 11 points.
Right.
So, and just to have that positional advantage at the tight end position is massive. Especially when you're going against these other teams that like don't have anybody. They're playing a Conklin or a Dan Arnold like I am in some leagues. To have Waller going against that opposing tight end, you're just massive upside and positional advantage, like I said.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this one might be a little bit more hard to do, and, I don't know who you'd have to trade to get him. Maybe you'll have to do like a 2 for 1 or maybe you do like a 2 for 2 type of deal. But, yeah, if I can get Darren Waller on my team, sign me up.
Dude, this is a serious question to ask you because you pull off trades like all the time. I'm in a couple leagues with you. I watch you pull off trades like crazy. What is your like go-to to get the trade going? Because there's so many people that just are not willing to trade.
a lot of times 1-for-1s aren't gonna work. You know, it's really hard to trade one player for one player, especially if it's like a receiver for receiver, because it's like, well, what am I gaining here? Like, I'm trading receiver A for receiver A. Like, it doesn't make any sense, you know, unless it's like, hey, I need a running back and I'll trade you a receiver to get a running back. Then maybe that works. But what I'll do a lot of times is I'll trade 2-for-1s, bro, and sometimes I'll even be trading. On paper, you could say, hey, man, you're giving up more than you're receiving. But to me, it's like, this is why I'm always talking about, like, having the depth in your roster, you know, and trade equity, you know, of getting players, you know, like, hey, maybe you're not going to start this player, but, like, have this guy on your depth, on your bench, because now you have trade equity. And, hey, now I'll trade a starting receiver and, you know, a running back, you know, a middle-tier running back to get a good wide receiver or something like that, you know, or like I'll trade like an Amari Cooper and a Brandon Cooks and try to get like a top tier kind of guy, you know.
Yeah.
Like, let me try to get, you know, hey, if you have Amari Cooper and Brandon Cooks, maybe you can pull it off and you get like a Devontae Adams in a sense, you know. I'm not saying that that's a possibility, but that's just kind of my thing. Sometimes I'm giving up a little bit more than I'm getting in return, I guess, on paper, but I'm upgrading at that position and, you know, the guy who's got a safer floor on a week-to-week basis. So
yeah. So you know what I've noticed that I do now this year that I've never done really before is I'll send the same person. There's a trade that I want. So trade A, and then you have trade B, right? So I'll send them trade A is what you want, but you send them trade B first. You send that one, and then that one will be like kind of silly, but not like too crazy, but it's just ones that you don't really want. And then you can basically say like, oh no, you know what? I changed my mind. Like, you kind of shy away from it, or you make them feel like no. And then you throw in that trade A. Wait, I got that confused. Basically, you send them one that you don't really want, and then you send them one that looks a little bit better to them. And right after that, like right at the same time almost, they'll always end up taking that. That's kind of what I did in that Calvin Ridley trade. I sent them another one that was like kind of not crazy silly, but it was similar, but it was for some plays that I didn't really care about. But I really wanted that Calvin Ridley one to go through. And so he rejected the other one and was able to accept the other one, the Calvin Ridley one that I wanted. But, yeah.
I mean, sometimes too is like, just send a trade offer to somebody. Like, somebody might not want to trade, but like, there's just something exciting about like you get a notification on your phone and it's like trade alert, and you're just like, ooh, like someone's sending me, and then like someone's sending me a trade request. Like, like you're very intrigued. It's like, you're like, ooh, like what is this? I want to see what this is, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, if it's not good, usually you're just like, fuck this guy. Like, don't disrespect me and waste my time. And then like you kind of lose their attention. But if you send them something that's kind of like juicy or something that's like, you know, maybe they're not going to accept it, but just get the wheels spinning on them. You know, they like sometimes people will trade players. They don't even want to trade players, but it's like you send them a trade request and they'll just be like, okay, I'll trade you. And it's like, they didn't even want to trade that player, but like you've kind of like ninja mind fucked them into like trading you in a way, because you've just like planted that seed of like, hey, I'll send you these players for this player. And they might be like, nah, I don't like that, but if you give me these players, I'll trade you for that player. And you're like, okay, bet. Like, and you know, you reel them in.
Yeah. It's almost like you really are like selling them too. So like I'll send like a private message to them and be like, hey man, I need to win now. Right. And like, that's my thing. Or I'll say the opposite. It's like in this dynasty league, I'm like, dude, you know what? I'm fucked this year because all I got is running backs. I'm just trying to win next year. And that's when I traded for the first round pick. But it's like, really, I still like the guy for this year, but you know what I mean? I'm convincing him that I'm giving him players to win now. And this guy's like over here like, oh, hell yeah. With these players you just gave me, I can win now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just want to talk about that a little bit. I feel like, there's some type of little bit of strategy to get the trades to go through. And I honestly, like, I really do respect you. And when I watch these fantasy leagues, like watch the activity, because you are like nuts. You're nuts with it.
You ever fucking respect me, dude?
I do, especially in that regard, but not so much in a lot of other regards. But hold up, wait a minute, check it out. So we got a partnership with Underdog Fantasy. It's Underdog Fantasy is kind of like it's similar to other competing apps like DraftKings, FanDuel, things like that. I actually like this one better. It's brand new. It's a great app. It's run really well. I have the desktop version of it on here right now. I just want to show you guys a little bit about it. So you, like right now, you know, we just talked about the Thursday night game. You could do a woo. Okay. We just broke down everything we think is going to happen in this Thursday night football game. So you can go and do this Thursday night rumble. It's a $10 entry and $50,000 in prizes. That's insane. $50K. Right there. $50,000. That's nuts. $10 entry. Go ahead. You just draft your team. Look, there's 2.2 thousand people entered in this right now. It's paying out all the way to the 1400th place. You literally you just have to beat pretty much the top. You have to be in like the top 70% in order to get into where you're actually making your money back, and then a little bit of some. But you can, first place wins $10,000 all the way down. It's $50K guaranteed prizes in this, and that's not just it. If you go and check this out, this is actually my favorite part of the app. Is if you go in here, NFL, and then you go to Pick'em, you can parlay. You can't do this. You can't put a parlay in for props normally, but in the Underdog Fantasy app, you can. There's some sneaky ones in here. We were talking about Case Keenum. Case Keenum hasn't played in 3 years, so I love the over on the 0.5 interceptions, and you can parlay these together, so you can do all the way up to 20 times your money if you do 5 of them. And this is not that crazy to hit a 5-team player prop parlay, because you can really go into that and figure that out. Like, I love the Tim Patrick over 3.5 receptions. You could literally put you could literally put $50 on that, on 5 of these, parlay them together. You hit them all, you get $1,000. $1,000. That's pretty nuts. This is money, honest. And so right now, if you download the Underdog Fantasy app and use promo code AVG when you sign up, AVG. Let me write that out. Yeah, so when you go to sign up, use promo code AVG while you sign up, and you'll be able to get a free $10 with your first deposit. So you can literally put $10 in, and they'll match you a $10 deposit on that. So it's a pretty good deal. Free money. Sounds pretty nice to me. If I were you, I would take advantage of these pick'ems, props that you can do. And then also the drafts are great as well. So go ahead and check that out. And if you do this, it supports the channel. So we appreciate it big time, because, it was awesome to be able to be partnered up with Underdog Fantasy. And yeah.